Plaintiff Raina Herzog says the defendant was married to her brother-in-law, but she kicked him out once she started dating a woman who is with the defendant in court today. Raina claims after the marriage ended, the defendant made false claims against Raina with CPS, and she's suing her today for babysitting fees and emotional distress. Defendant Nicole Herzog says the reason she left her husband is because he was an abusive alcoholic who strangled her. And the reason she called CPS on Raina is because she had a sex offender in her home around Nicole's children. Nicole is countersuing for harassment.
Start with you.
Your Honor, Nicole and I were best friends for 6 years while she was married to my husband's brother. It all ended, our friendship ended shortly after she chose to start a relationship with her girlfriend and kick her husband out. During the time of her...
How do you know that?
Your Honor,
She admits to that?
She told me that.
Your Honor, I
Okay.
kicked my ex-husband out because he strangled me while he was drunk one night.
Did she tell you that part?
She did. During the course of their relationship, there was nothing but drama between the two of them, and it was physical, so them separating did not surprise me a bit. Like, it was something that needed to be done, and I was completely on her side. After their split up, her husband had moved into our home, and I was her best friend through and through. Okay. I was on her side. Anytime she'd call or text or need anything from me, I did everything I could do to help her. On 4/24, I guess it was 4/24, she had gone into a heated conversation, I guess, with her husband, or I guess maybe her ex-husband at the time, but he was living in my home, and had told him that she wanted the $200 in child support, and he said that he didn't have it for her, at which time she replied that she would keep the kids from him if she didn't get it. And so, and
She told you that also?
I'm seeing this because I'm reading it on the text messages on his phone as they were coming in. So he replied he didn't have it.
What did he say to you? I'm gonna strangle her. Do you see this?
No, it was
he didn't
after.
say that? Oh, okay.
It was already after all that.
Oh, he had
happened.
already strangled her.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is long after.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
He had showed me the text where she said she was going to keep the kids from him if he didn't pay, and he had replied that she couldn't do that because there was a court order. So then she replied that she was going to call CPS and say that there was a pedophile living in my home and
I had nothing
babysitting
to
her
do
children.
with child support. Me calling
And so,
CPS on...
stand by.
No.
And
I'm talking
you
to the
stand by.
judge.
It's her turn. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You give me some background.
My ex-husband is an alcoholic, drinks almost every night. Depending on what he drinks, will alter his, thinking, whatever, and he does turn violent. There's been times where I was pregnant. We have 3 children together. There's times where I was pregnant and he's put his hands on me. He actually put his hands on me right after I had my first daughter. Raina and I were both pregnant at the same time with our second kids, and he went to punch a wall and ended up punching her in the stomach. So that just gives you a little background of how...
While she was pregnant.
He had showed me the text where she said she was going to keep the kids from him if he didn't pay, and he had replied that she couldn't do that because there was a court order. So then she replied that she was going to call CPS and say that there was a pedophile living in my home and
I had nothing to
her
do
children.
with child support. Me calling
And so,
CPS on...
stand by.
No.
And
I'm talking
You
to the
stand by.
judge.
It's her turn. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Plaintiff Raina Herzog is suing her former sister-in-law, who admits that she called CPS on Raina because she had a sex offender in her home around the defendant's children.
Okay, let me allow her to tell me. Go ahead.
She ended up not getting the $200 in child support. She tried saying, I won't let you see the kids if you don't give it to me. And then he says, you can't do that, we have court order. So then she said, well, then I'm gonna make sure you can't see them. I'll call CPS and I'll say that there's a sex offender in your home and watching my kids, which was not true at all. Later that afternoon, I received a phone call from CPS saying, well, do you know why anyone would be concerned about the welfare of your children? And I told them, yes, because I've seen these text messages as they came in this morning. So the CPS person, when he came out, he was able to review the text message and talk to all of the adults in the house, including the children. And he mentioned to us that she did mention something about all of this coming out because of $200 in child support. So she falsely called CPS on me, trying to get me to lose my kids and everything.
I never called on her.
I've been her best
Hold on,
friends
ma'am.
for 6 years. You did call on me.
I didn't.
Hold on, ladies. Give her some tissue. Now, the question is, was there a sex offender in the home?
No.
Why do you laugh?
Because there is.
Ma'am?
He works
Ma'am?
with
Hold
them.
on. Ma'am, is there a sex
He
offender?
works with us, but he does not
Does he come
reside
over?
at my home. Yeah, of course he does, but he is only a level.
And how old was the child that he...
He was never left unattended with the children, ever.
Okay, how old were the children that you have?
Everybody's under 12. So between...
Okay. And the person that he victimized,
Well,
She's
he
right
was also
here,
a child.
Your Honor, she's right here. This is his victim.
That's why. It's because she's
how old
got it
was she
hard
at the
now.
time of...
9 years old.
And he was how old?
Just
He was
turned 13.
17.
Be quiet. He was how old?
17
He was a teenager.
or 16. Yes.
He was a teenager. And you don't think she had a right to notify someone that there's a sex offender that visits the house where children are living and he has been convicted of molesting a 9-year-old and all of the children there are under 12? You don't think she had a right to do that? She had every right in the world.
I did.
This guy
She had
has been
every
in our
right in the
life.
world.
Thank you.
Every right in the world.
I will protect my children.
Whether she said he was living there, visiting, on the roof, whatever he was doing. What babysitting fees are you suing for? Obviously, your emotional distress is because she called CPS and alleged that there was a child molester there. That's your emotional distress?
My emotional stress is because she put me in the middle of the split up between her and her husband.
He was living in
All
your
right, how did she
house.
put you in the middle of it? And how did it cause you stress? Did you say, don't talk to me about it?
There's
Did you
multiple
ever
times
tell
where I
her,
told her I
don't
didn't want to
talk
be
to
in the
me
middle
about
of
it?
No, I didn't.
Well, then you put yourself in the middle, or you allowed yourself to get in the middle. Whenever you don't want to get in the middle of somebody's mess, you say, don't y'all put me in that. I don't want to hear it no more. That's it. So no emotional distress for that. I think you were asking for emotional distress because that's what you referred to about her calling CPS. Now that I've explained to you was legitimate call, now you want to switch your emotional distress. The judge, I do this.
It's all of the above.
I know what goes on when people come before me. Babysitting fees, how does she owe you for that? Let's talk about
She
that.
texted me on the February 10th, and asked me if I was busy Wednesday and Thursday, and wanted me to watch her kids. She'd pay me $50 if I could watch the girls.
What days would that be?
Wednesday and Thursday.
What dates?
Would be the 12th and the 13th.
February 12th and 13th, ma'am?
Correct.
And what was the agreement for payment?
She texted me and agreed to pay me $50. The following,
For both days or 25 each day?
for both days.
All right.
The following morning, I was on a speakerphone phone call with her and her ex-husband, and she had said that she wanted to drop the kids off a day early and go the 11th and 12th instead of the 12th and the 13th. And she did. She brought the kids over and she dropped them off.
Ma'am.
I watched them that night, and the following day she called and said that she wanted to stay an additional day in Portland. So she asked if Dylan would take the kids to her mother's house in Seaside, and to which he did.
When you asked for your money, what has she said, ma'am?
She said, I don't owe you.
Why? Did
Blank.
she give you a reason?
No.
All right. Ma'am, let me hear from you on the babysitting.
Okay, so I had texted her February 10th of this year, asking if she would be busy Wednesday and Thursday. Didn't get a response. And then I text her 7 minutes later asking if I paid her $50, would she watch them the 12th and the 13th, which is Wednesday and Thursday. She never texted me back. So I then text my sister-in-law because I wasn't getting a response.
Was there an agreement with her ever?
No.
Okay,
Never.
so you never
She
got
never
a response
responded.
where she said, I'll do the 12th and the 13th?
Plaintiff Raina Herzog is suing her former sister-in-law, who admits that she called CPS on Raina because she had a sex offender in her home around the defendant's children.
Anyone have anything specifying the dates and an agreement regarding it?
No agreement.
Does anyone have any evidence of that?
I have a voicemail when she turned
There
on the
you go.
13th. When she returned home on the 13th, she called me and said, hi, it's Nicole. I'm trying to find you so that I can pay you. Let me know where
Gotcha.
you're at.
Let me hear that. That's what I want to hear.
Hey, I'm trying to give you money and,
Ma'am?
Does that specify what I'm giving her?
Yeah, what is it for then? Giving her money for what?
So my ex was supposed to drop them off to my mom.
Just tell me what the money you were going to give her was for.
She ended up watching them on Wednesday.
So you were going to give her money for babysitting fees.
Because she didn't end up watching them.
But you told her on the 13th you would pay her.
I would pay her $25.
For watching the kids.
Because
you said, I'm trying to give you your money.
Because she ended up watching them on Wednesday.
So you did owe her.
I didn't owe her, though.
You told her you were going to pay her. You said I was going to pay her. You're admitting that you were going to pay her, but somehow you keep going back and forth. What did you mean by paying her then?
Because my ex was harassing me on...
Oh, because you got harassed is why you paid her?
Because he kept harassing me, telling me
Is that why you said you'd pay her? Is because of harassment by someone else?
By
All
her
right, go tell the
brother-in-law.
police that you were harassed into paying somebody or agreeing to pay somebody $50. That's called extortion, which I don't believe is the case. Have a good day. Judgment for $50 is yours, and your claim is dismissed.
I have nothing to say to them. They want a registered sex offender living and exposing himself to their kids. That's their deal, whatever. But I care about my kids, and I'll protect them as much as I possibly can.
It's funny that you'd have a problem with it now because for the last 6 years,
Said and so have you. I've
you
said
never called until
but
now.
you have to have around him because that's what your husband wants.
Oh, right.
Even when he put his hands on your kids. Yeah.
You're so
Think
full of
about
it.
that. Oh, you don't remember that when you went to Yakima, Reina? And he bruised your daughter's chest?
Were you there?
You don't remember? You told me yourself.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.